What is your accidentally caught your spouse cheating horror story? Not me, but a medical resident who I met on rotation recently. One of the nicest guy I ever met, super intelligent and hardworking, and training to be a trauma surgeon by humble as they come. He had been married for 2 years to his wife. One night he gets off a 30-hour call early and heads home to surprise his wife with some flowers and her favorite dessert. It was the anniversary of the day they first met, only to find her in bed with a random dude. He was so exhausted and confused, he didn't know what to do, and just left and went back to the hospital. I saw him at 5 AM, sitting in the parking lot, hunched over crying. He didn't even have his phone with him, he was just sitting there. Man, nothing breaks your heart more than seeing a grown man cry. It's not something you see often. We called his dad up, and he came and picked him up. The guy ended up taking a leave from his residency. Turns out, it wasn't the wife's first time sleeping around. Hope he gets back on his feet. He will make an amazing physician. Surprise her with flowers and her favorite dessert. Why do awful people always take advantage of the sweetest ones? I hope that dude finds a woman who appreciates his thoughtfulness. She was married to a future doctor who also did stuff like this for her. What a ducking idiot that wife is. On family vacation, I picked up his phone because I was bored and the kids were playing on mine. Saw a message to some girl describing the sexy and I had the night before. Spent the rest of the vacation fighting via text while trying and failing to act normal. Friend of mine was hanging out with some guys at a bar and went home to chill with them. He asked how they knew my girlfriend at the time. Realized she was a mutual friend at the bar. Guy said she was duck buddies with his friend. My friend was confused and mentioned she was the girlfriend of a friend of his, me, to which his response was, "Oh, I hope you're not good enough of friends to have to tell him." Apostrophe. Had a really close group of friends who would always prank each other. One of my mates found out the Facebook password of another, so while on Skype the whole call, included myself, logged into his Facebook account being 7 people, to make a stupid status. At the same time my partner of 5 years was messaging him on Facebook about how good sex was last night, and about meeting up again. Why are people so shitty? Sorry man. College girlfriend and we lived together for a year after I realized she would always have her phone on silent or just plain ignore calls from Jennifer. One day I write down the number and call it a week later. It ends up being her other boyfriend who she had never broken up with before she came to college. Neither of us knew about each other and she had been visiting him when she went home to see her parents on some weekends and breaks. Broke up soon after, and her mom said that sometimes you just have to accept things, and how I owed her an apology for breaking up with her. It gets worse, but that was the gist. How does it get worse? Walked in on my girlfriend while she was having sex with another guy. "What are you doing here?" she says. "You gave me a key, remember? I ended up not working today and wanted to surprise you." 15 years later she reaches out, leaves me a message that she'd like to talk. I figure she's doing some 12-step thing or something and wants to make amends. Nope. She wanted to try and sell me on Amway. She wanted to try and sell me on Amway. That's worse than getting cheated on. It's like he got cheated on twice. Mount St. Augustine erupted in Alaska in 1986. They had to evacuate all planes out of Elmendorf AFB due to ash in the air. This sent my unit home from Korea 3 days early. I got home at 2 AM and there was a guy sleeping next to my wife in our bed. Mount St. Augustine coming in clutch. I just got off work after working the graveyard shift. I walk into my apartment with my fiance riding some guy she met at a party on my futon which they broke. I walked out with so much rage and broken feelings. I went to my car and cried. The broken futon makes this so much worse. Found my wife's notebook. Written on the first page was a 10-step plan detailing how she was going to leave me for another guy. I turned it into 1 step. Her phone went off and she asked me what it said. I looked at it and it said, "I wanna bend you over and spank you." Apostrophe. Just another text from your father. Weird you still call him daddy. Came home early. They were fast enough to get dressed, but not in a natural state of being, if that makes sense. It was obvious something was just going down. Very cliched, got walked in on and tried to play it cool like you see in TV. I asked him to leave and he did. We argued. She tried to lie but soon confessed. It wasn't the first time she cheated, but it was the first time that I caught her in the act. Everything in the past was just texts and stuff. She said that she never slept with the other people and it was just pics and flirting. In retrospect, that may not be BS. We divorced, both remarried. Not friends by any stretch, but civil. Emotional cheating in this day and age is the same. Went to log into email and a suggested one that I didn't recognize popped up. I answered all his security questions and reset his password to find emails between him and the neighbor. We were in therapy to recover from him cheating with her, and there they were waxing poetic about their love and when I'd be out of the house so they could be together. The actual horror story is that our 7-year-old daughter is the one who accidentally caught them originally by walking into our bedroom while I was at work. Oh my god, that's terrible. Poor kid and poor you. What a jackass. Thank you. It certainly gave her trust issues with her father, but luckily it was enough to make me leave him for good. This wasn't the first time, but it was the last. My new husband was a saint dealing with the trust issues it gave me, especially in relation to activities on the computer. Now, almost 15 years later, I'm mostly over it. I was at Disney with our kids, day 2 of a 7-day family trip her father had been, by that point, talking up for about 7 years. He and her mother told us, when the kids were born, they were going to take us all to Disney when they turned 7. And 7 years later, it finally happened. At that point, we'd been together for over a decade, had a great job, a house, bunch of kids, and the full-on, 100%, honest to goodness American dream. Life was grand. Until I picked up her phone to set an alarm on night 2 of our family vacation of a lifetime. There were so many texts. So many. I remember actually wanting to hurt her and having to leave the room. I immediately called the number and heard some ducking strange dude answer with a sleepy "Hello darling. I'm glad to hear from you." I wanted to die. The sense of unreality that I experienced. It was immediately numbing. Like I'd just switched to the dark timeline. All I could think was, from this point on, everything that I have known about my left is going to change. My ex left me at Disney with our 2 kids and her grandchild to rush home to be with her side penis. I know your pain, my friend. Goddamn, that sucks. Disney tickets are ducking expensive for her to just waste hers. Girlfriend ran over her phone by accident and destroyed the screen. Asked me to back up all her stuff and transfer it to her new Pixeluse backup tool that captures all sorts of dirty messages and nudes with another guy. Either she's stupid or she wanted to get caught. Obligatory, not me, but a friend. And I've posted this story twice before. Early 2000s, my friend's husband was deployed to Iraq. Together, they had a 10-year-old son and a happy marriage. One day, while he was deployed, I'm at home when another one of our friends calls and screams, "Holy shit, turn on the news right now." I turn it on to watch a human interest story about a fundraiser at a high school 30 miles away. They are doing Relay for Life or something, and as a surprise to one of the participants, they had her husband and father of her 2 grade school children do a video call from Iraq and displayed it on the football jumbotron. There on our local news is my friend's husband telling another woman and 2 kids how he loves them and can't wait to get back home to them. The news eats it up about what a great guy he is. That night, our group of friends convened and decided how we would tell her. I was nominated, so the next day I had to sit her down and tell her what we saw. She called the news station, and they were happy to let her come in and watch the story. They were also incredibly apologetic. Story has a somewhat crappy ending, I'm afraid. She called him out on his BS. They started divorce proceedings, and he went on to legally marry the mother of his other kids, and mostly ignored his son from the first marriage. I returned from work on Christmas Eve. We had tickets to a festival which started the day before night, and I couldn't find the tickets anywhere after seeing them the month before. I decided to double check the trash before we put it out for collection. I found a used condom. We lived on our own. But did you ever find the tickets? Indeed. How is no one else invested in whether he found the tickets? He found it alright. Front row tickets to Grinch Ruins Christmas. Dating this girl a few years back, and I became really good friends with her brother, just because he appreciated my help during a difficult time for their family. Their father had abruptly passed away. 2 years into the relationship, the brother contacts me and asks to meet up for coffee and a serious conversation. Apparently he caught his own sister with another guy, mutual friend of ours, and this shit had been going on for like a year. As soon as he found out, I was told. Broke up with her. Still friends with her brother. Go figure. Edit: if I was gay I'd date him. Everyone happy. Haha. Thanks for all the love.